Hi, I'm Jeff Munn, Creating Extraordinary Futures. And if you're watching this video, chances are you're a founder, you're a business owner who has been trying to scale and sell your business. And what looks like it could be easy from the outside, certainly there's all kinds of information available on how to do it. When it comes time to actually implement it, you keep running into yourself. You keep getting in the way of things that you know you should be doing. And if you're like that, and most people are, I have found there are three identity shifts, really, that if you can accomplish them, it will make scaling and selling your business something that you can do from a sense of ease, from a sense of a greater mission, and it will really make the whole process go a lot more smoothly. Before I share those shifts, though, I want to show you where I am. This is Mount Sopris, just outside of Carbondale, Colorado. I moved to Carbondale coming up on 6 years ago. This mountain has called me in a lot of ways, and it has come to symbolize for me this sense of mission and greater purpose that I think calls a lot of this forward. And if you're a founder or a business owner, you probably have that sense of calling too. And there's a lot to this story behind me and Mount Sopris. I'll direct you to my website if you want to find out more about that. But I just wanted to have that sense of the mountain guiding us as I walk you through this video. So that's where I am. Before we get into the three things, I want to talk a little bit about identity. I said something about shifts in identity. I said something about insights. What do I mean by that? What is an identity? And for the vast majority of us, an identity is something that we think we have. We think it's solid, but if you really examine it, it's a habit. It's habitual stories that we tell ourselves, habitual truths from our childhood, and I say truths in like air quotes, that we believe without question. We think it's solid. We think we are confined by it, but we're really not. When you begin to look at identity, it's not only something that doesn't really exist, but it's also this really useful thing that we can mold in a way that suits us. So if you've got something that you want to take on years in the future, you can ask yourself, well, who do I need to be in order to do that? What would the future Jeff, in my case, need to be in order to take that on? And you can be that anytime. You can be that right now if you choose to. And that actually leads us to the first shift that I'm talking about. And I call this shift from identity to purpose. So we spend a lot of time propping up, maintaining this identity. Am I a good person? Am I a bad person? Am I hardworking or am I lazy? Am I an extrovert or an introvert? Am I the type of person that would scale and sell a company, or am I not? We're so focused on this self that we miss the bigger picture. So I talked a little bit about the mountain, and I talked about a calling. What's your calling? And when you shift from this is all about me and making sure that I look good and feel good about myself and feel like I'm enough, to who do I need to be in order to get this mission done? Who do I need to be to bring this greater sense of purpose and clarity into the world? When it's about that, then suddenly it gets a lot less scary, and you're willing to be a lot more uncomfortable for the sake of this bigger thing that's not about you anymore. Now, the second shift I call from what to who. You could also call it from how to who. And it's really present for me right now because I just got off a call with a client who was struggling with this very issue. And he's very smart, runs a company that he's in the process of scaling right now, bringing in a leadership team, all of those things. And he has had a tendency to think about problems in the sense of, what do I need to do? How do I need to do it? And then who can I find who can do that in exactly the way that I have already figured out how to do it? And he leaves so much on the table there. And what we've been talking about is What if you said, instead of what's the sales process that I want and who can help me implement it, to just say, I have a sales problem. Who can help me with my sales problem? And that person, because they have so much more expertise than you do in the area of sales, as an example, they're operating with a much wider palette of possibilities. They're going to come up with something way better than you ever came up with. And you can completely delegate it to them. You can say, I want to have sales of X this year, or I want more accounts that look like this. And this person is going to figure it out for you. So going from what to who is a really key step in that idea of building a leadership team and letting people have the direction, the autonomy to create what it is that you want to create. Now, it may not be exactly the same as you would have created, but in all likelihood, it's going to be a lot better. So this past weekend, I was away with a client. This client happens to have a plane. This client picked me up in his plane. We flew to a place where he had just bought some land and was building a vacation home, because it was a way for him to get away and think these bigger thoughts. And I love that sense of retreat time, that sense of space, because things come up for you that don't when you're in your office, looking at your monitor, looking at your Excel spreadsheet, grinding away on the day-to-day stuff. And he looked at me at one point and he said, I think I'm in this shift, and this was the third shift, from warrior to king. And we've talked a lot about archetypes, and the king is a gender-specific word. It's really a monarch. It's really the sense of a monarchy, the sense of domain that you have, right? And you go from the warrior who is battling all the battles, constantly on call, constantly fighting fires, to the king, the monarch, who presides, who has people, who never gets in the fray, who always stays above the fray. And that's a beautiful place to be, because if you're building, scaling, selling a company, suddenly the question isn't, how do I do that? It's more, what do I do after that? What do I do so that that company is just like one in a portfolio of companies? What does my kingdom, my monarchy, ultimately look like? What do I ultimately want to create? And how am I not opening myself up to the possibility of something way bigger than I ever imagined before? So I hope these 3 shifts have been helpful to you. I would encourage you to go back and watch this video over, because there's a lot in there. There's a lot in these shifts. The shift from identity to mission or purpose, the shift from what to who, the shift from warrior to monarch. There's a lot in there. This can guide you on your path to scaling and selling your company with ease, with purpose, with impact. And I want you to know that I'm here to support you along the way. And if you would like to get on the phone, I would love to have a 1-hour impact session with you to see, where are you holding yourself back? What is the thing that's getting in the way for you? Maybe it's one of those shifts, maybe it's something else. And together, we can put together a plan to get you to the next place you need to be along this path of scaling and selling and ultimately building your monarchy. So I hope that has been of value to you. I encourage you to use the calendar link below to schedule some time for that impact session, and I look forward to connecting with you. Thanks.